Brutality of the fight scenes I thought was just so shocking and visceral. I kind of enjoyed that in a way because I was like, oh, this wasn't what I was expecting. I thought this was going to be a super choreographed, epic kind of Zorro level bit. Like when it gets to the final fight in France, that bit just took my breath away because it was just, again, so visceral and just so brutal. I was like, I did not expect this from this movie, and it just absolutely left me stunned.
Oh wow, I didn't feel that.
Fair enough. Thanks for having me on. Bye, everyone.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher podcast. Today I'm joined by Helen.
Hi.
Harley.
Hello.
And Tom.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about The King. Thank you as always to the mighty people for their mighty, mighty tunes that you can hear right now. And thanks to Ben from Rockwood Audio for editing this podcast. Please remember to head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Pocket Casts and give us a 5-star rating and a glowing review. It really does help us. And if you want to join the conversation with us, we're on Twitter and Threads, TikTok-ish, Blue Sky and Instagram. Just search for Flixwatcher Podcast and you'll find us there.
Hello film fans, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Our guests today are Harley and Tom. Over to you please, Tom, to say hello to our listeners and tell them a little bit more about who you are and what you do, please.
Thanks, Helen. Hello, listeners. My name is Tom, and I host a podcast called Proper Mental, and it's a mental health themed podcast, and I speak to a guest each week about a different aspect of mental health or mental illness or mental well-being and all that sort of stuff, and we sort of dig around in, well, sometimes that's lived experience, sometimes that might be a specific aspect of mental health or a specific diagnosis or anything really that kind of contributes to the conversation. It's been going around 4 years, 200 and something episodes. And yeah, it all comes from my own experience of being very unwell. I had a lot of problems with my mental health, and part of the recovery involved learning to talk about that and to talk to other people about their experiences, which eventually led to me doing that with the microphone in front of my face. That's it, really, the Proper Mental podcast.
So it's quite cathartic as well for you.
It can be, yeah, it can be, yeah. It certainly was in the early doors when I started. Yeah, very, very much so.
Is that pandemic times you started?
Yeah, just sort of after 2021. And yeah, I'd been very, very unwell, and I'd never really talked about any of this stuff. And mental struggle is really lonely, and a lot of people kind of assume that no one else is going through the things that they're going through. And yeah, it was when I started to talk to other people, I realised how much common ground there was and how much sort of loveliness and how empowering it is to kind of relatability, you know, to speak to someone who's kind of been through something similar. And I wanted to have those conversations and put this somewhere where people could hear them, because when I was poorly and I was looking everywhere for these types of conversations, they didn't exist. You know, there was a lot of rich people talking about ice baths, and there wasn't many sort of working class voices. There wasn't any people that looked like me or talked like me, or, you know, these sorts of things. And I wanted to kind of, dig around in and have those conversations that I felt that I could have really done with hearing when I was poorly, you know?
Yeah. I might have a couple of people to send your way for if you accept guests. So we'll tap up after this.
Oh, mate, that'd be wonderful, yeah.
Who are you in my bottom left corner?
I'm assuming that's me?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, how do I follow that? I feel kind of silly now with my little pop culture nonsense over here, but I'll go for it. My name's Harley. I run the Fandamentals podcast. It's the podcast that explores pop culture one conversation at a time. I invite guests onto the show, talk about something that they're connected to within the pop culture realm, just explore that and have as much fun as possible. In fact, all three of you guys have been kind enough to come on the podcast at one time or another. There's a plethora of guests, actually, that have been on this show, that have been on my show. So if anyone's listening, they want some familiar voices, loads of jumping off points. There's film, TV, sport, music, obscure hobbies and interests. I'm pretty fast and loose with the term pop culture. It's just whatever seems interesting. And there's over 140 episodes to check out.
Nice. Helen and Tom, what did you choose for Fundamentals podcast? What did you talk about?
I've been on a few times, mate. What did I do?
Thrice.
Look at that, a hat
You
trick.
Definitely did Pearl Jam, because I listened to that one because I like Pearl Jam. I
go,
enjoyed listening to that one.
Pearl Jam. I did The Sopranos, and I did Oasis as well. Yeah, that was the other one.
And you were in my Star Wars special as well, if I remember correctly.
That is correct, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then Helen.
Nice.
Well, actually, we can reveal this.
Kobe, do you want to guess what I might have picked? Do you need a clue?
Well, it's going to be a music thing. Miley Cyrus.
Not Miley.
Okay.
No, Bruce.
It wasn't music, actually.
It wasn't?
No,
Okay.
it was TV. That should be a big clue.
Oh, so ER.
It was ER.
It was indeed ER, and it was fascinating, truly. There was some stuff that came out that I was not expecting, so that episode's out very soon.
Well, it might be out by the time this comes out.
It should be, yeah.
So do check it out. But have you heard of The Pit, Helen?
I have. I haven't seen it. We did discuss it very briefly.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's available in the UK yet, which
No.
is, I hate it when... The time of the internet, guys, HBO, everyone can just watch it. So just release it all at the same time. It's just annoying.
Hard agree.
I have to watch Hacks season 3 via means I don't like going through because...
Shh.
Yeah. But no, now it's on a proper channel, I feel like I've just got it early.
Yeah.
That's my justification.
Anyway, films that you can stream in a legitimate way we're talking about.
Sure. So you've chosen The King, which is only available on Netflix. Can you tell us why you chose it, Harley? And then we'll give you the timer.
Well, it was really just good timing on Helen's part when she sent me the emails. I just got around to watching this film. It had been a recommendation from my cousin who absolutely adores this. So I had it on my queue for ages and thought, yeah, do you know what? It's got a great cast. I'm quite interested in historical dramas from time to time. So I thought, yeah, I will get around to watching this. I just had a free evening, watched it, loved it. And then I think the next day, Helen sent me an email and I was just like, perfect timing. This is fresh on my mind. Let's talk about it.
Fair enough. And the synopsis timer starts now.
So, Hal reluctantly takes on the role of the king from his father, King Henry IV, also known as the Usurper King, after his younger brother Thomas is killed in battle. Shortly after his reign begins, he receives taunts from the King of France in the form of a tennis ball. He decides to ignore this and pursue the path of peace. However, he is then alerted to the presence of an assassin, also sent from the King of France. He feels he has no choice but to go and declare war on France and heads across the English Channel with the help of his friend Falstaff and a mass army. He is then confronted by the French Prince de Dauphin, and they agree to meet in battle. Hal uses his tactics and is able to defeat the French army and kill the Dauphin. He then heads into France, claims the kingdom, but in the exchange of power discovers that he was actually betrayed by one of his own in his court. He learns that the assassin was never sent from the King of France. So he gained all of that power, but at what cost?
Very nice.
The Dauphin, I think it's...
I think so. I've heard several pronunciations online. I was like, well, this isn't helpful.
Helen, Tom, have you seen this before? Had you heard of this before?
I've seen this before.
Okay.
There was a period where I was trying my best to watch all of Robert Pattinson and Timothée Chalamet's back catalogue, especially films that were on Netflix. So I have seen this
Why
before.
those guys?
Because they're both extremely talented actors and pick really interesting films. So yeah, that's why I've seen it.
No, I wasn't. Sorry, that sounds quite bad.
Why not? I love Robert Pattinson. I think he's great. Like, he's got such a wild back catalogue. It's great.
I think it's partly because have you seen all the Twilight films yet? Then
No.
yeah, because that's what I was like. Hold on, but you don't like the Twilight films, so that's clearly a massive gaping void.
No. I'm just waiting for someone to pick the other ones. Like, someone brought us Twilight and I watched it and it was fine. I'm waiting for the other ones.
Yeah, you'll be bored by the second one, certainly. Tom, have you seen this before?
I hadn't seen it before. No, I'd heard of it. I was aware of it. I wasn't particularly fussed by the idea of watching it. I'm not going to. I'm not going to lie, especially
You're
with the
welcome,
length. No, I love a long movie, but if you're going to give up that amount of time of your life, then it's usually because you really want to watch something, right?
Fair.
So yeah, I'd heard of it, hadn't seen it, and glad I watched it.
All right, so carry on. What were your thoughts?
At first, because I went in quite reluctantly, and I often think with these kind of like medieval 15th century type movies, if there's no, like, they're either really good or really bad, usually. And what, for me, kind of determines where they sit on that scale is whether they've got things like dragons, wizards, orcs. And without those things, they can be a little long and pretentious. I was worried because the cast is amazing. I was kind of like, is this going to be like a load of actors just showing us how much they love Shakespeare? And it's just going to be like really sort of, like I say, pretentious. And so, I went into it quite reluctantly. It's a slow starter. So for the first half hour, I was thinking, yep, this is everything I predicted. Should have got a dragon in. But yeah, once it kind of picks up speed, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I would. And yeah, it was a lot of really interesting things. The battle in particular was really sick. I enjoyed that. I like what they did. Yeah, it's good. Glad I watched it. Yeah, was not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Not as bad as you thought. I mean, Helen, were you happy to rewatch it?
I watched it quite a long time ago, and I watched it, most of it, on 1.5 speed then, so I felt that I should probably watch it properly for this.
We don't really talk about the speeds. I mean, when it's a film for this podcast, I watch it at normal speed, but there are some films where I'm like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for this one, but carry on. I'm curious if people do the 1.5er.
I think I got a bit more out of it this time, not watching it at 1.5 speed. I do think it's a bit long and a bit but I really like Robert Pattinson's performance in this. And
really?
Yeah. I think it's just wild. I was reading that he was like told to do it like that as well, so completely like a direction thing. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's my favourite film, but I didn't actually mind that much rewatching it again. But also there's quite a lot in it that I found funny, which I'm not really sure whether I was like meant to.
Do you have any examples?
There's a bit where he's like, come out then, big dog, and fight me, and out shuffles Timothée, and he's not like a big dog, he's just really tiny. And I thought that was funny. Obviously Robert Pattinson, like all of it. And then the bit where he says fuck, I'm like, where was that invented? Not sure that's language is that authentic to the times, but yeah.
I've heard multiple times when some words are just like way older than you ever could even imagine in the first place. And B, if they used period appropriate words, they wouldn't have the same impact that you would do. So they kind of use more like words that would have the same impact now. So if they said like you nincompoop instead of you fuckwit, even though that's what they may have used back then, that's why they use them. So with Deadwood, for example, I don't know if you ever watched that. They just used to swear all the time, and a lot of people said no, they wouldn't use those words then. But it's like, yeah, but you need to make sure they have the impact they have now. But fuck, I think it's been around for a long time, so that could have been just well.
But he says it once, like they didn't swear at all in battle. Like battle, people dying, no need to swear. And then at the end, when he finds out he's been double crossed, that's when he gets all sweary.
This is the Walking Dead thing, isn't it? No swearing, even when like entrails are spilling out people's guts. Did you watch it again before for this, Harley, or did you rest on the laurels of the?
Rest on the laurels. Brilliant. Yeah, I rested on the laurels. No, I was rewatching a few like recap videos just to kind of jog my memory of certain bits, but like it was fairly recent, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since I saw it because it just had quite an impact. And it's not the kind of film I always go for. Like I like a good long film. I like something that makes you think. I like stuff that's kind of drenched in character study from time to time. And it's an interesting one because I feel like this time period, it can kind of either go the way that Tom was saying of like high fantasy and stuff like that, which I'm also here for, by the way. Like I got a lot of love for stuff like Lord of the Rings and things like that. More than happy to watch the extended editions and so forth. But I found something really refreshing about this, and just its honesty and just how like fallible all of the characters were. And in particular, like the brutality of the fight scenes, I thought was just so shocking and visceral. And I kind of enjoyed that in a way, because I was like, oh, this wasn't what I was expecting. I thought this was going to be a super choreographed, epic kind of Zorro level fight scenes, like, which again, I have time for. I grew up on that stuff. But the tone of the film from the word go sets a very drab, real, grounded kind of feel. So when that first fight comes up, I'm thinking like, okay, how's this going to go? And then within minutes, they're just sliding around on the floor, covered in mud, just scrambling at each other. And I'm like, yeah, that's how that would go down. Like, I don't know if any of you here have ever worn a suit of armor before out of interest.
No.
No. Have you?
I've held chainmail, and it's fucking heavy.
It's heavy. I mean, we had remember years ago in school, a history lesson, we had one brought in and we got to try one on. And I could not believe how heavy it was back then. And my first thought as a teenager was like, how do people fight in this? Like, because you cannot move. It's so heavy. So you're like, yeah, if you step on a muddy battlefield, you're done for. You're not going to be stood there looking all victorious and taking big epic swings of your sword. Like, you're going down. And like the person next to you is going down. So it's just at that point, it's just grab what you can and just stab away and hope that you hit something. And I kind of love that so much of the action just descends into that. Not only from like a historical point of view, but also in terms of what it represents for the characters as well. I thought that was quite an interesting just sort of marrying of those two things, if that makes any sense. Like just the whole tone of the film, the way the characters are, like all of them are kind of just scrabbling in the dirt in some way. Like no one here is particularly pious or a sort of hero. Even like Hal, when we follow his story, he's a reluctant king.
Yeah.
And he wants to be peaceable, but he's also quite good at scrambling around in the dirt and stabbing people, and he does it when he has to. And yeah, I really enjoyed all of that. I just thought it was so refreshing and different, and to kind of almost jump ahead a little bit, like when it gets to the final fight in France, that bit just took my breath away because it was just, again, so visceral and just so brutal. I was like, I did not expect this from this movie, and it just absolutely left me stunned.
Oh, wow. I didn't feel that.
Fair enough. Thanks for having me on. Bye, everyone. No, go on.
I mean, I think some of the points you make are valid in that we're probably very conditioned to, from Blackadder through till, before that, through till recent Game of Thrones, where if you're in chainmail, Jaime Lannister, you're going to swing that axe, you're going to swing your sword around and almost like you're on a wire, like in this kind of kung fu film. So I did kind of think, it would just look a bit crap. The fights. But also I thought, this looks a bit silly in some cases when they were like punching each other.
Yeah.
Gauntlet to helmet on top of chainmail. Just kind of thought, is this what we're doing here, guys?
That would be a strong move though, because it would rattle your head around and bash you about.
No, but also how much impact would if you're punching with your gauntlet onto a helmet? That just doesn't.
But it's kind of the desperation, and I kind of like that it's foreshadowed quite early on with the way that Hal brings Falstaff in, like Joel Edgerton's character, who for me is like the MVP of this film. Like, he's just a brilliant character.
He wrote it, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He had a co-write on this, and it's sort of set up earlier before they go into the big battle, where he's just giving this speech about how he actually hates war. And the whole reason Hal brought him is because he's like, yeah, this guy understands what war really is. It's not glory. Yeah. It's not chivalry and honor. It's just horrible and terrible. And he gives an amazing speech where he talks about how you feel after the battle, after it's all over. You don't feel good about yourself. You're just like, nope, that was horrible. And I don't ever want to do it again. So I kind of like that we get to then see that visually represented of when it actually happens, you're like, yeah, this is terrible. That, this sucks. This would not be fun to be a part of. You wouldn't come home and be like, yes, I went to France, and the Crusades and the sort of propaganda that was about then. It's like, no, this was just awful, and it's kind of just laid bare to see.
I do quite like that aspect when you put it out like that, because every time I do watch these battles, especially knights on horses, I just think, look, I'm going to be. I don't know. I'd love to know. I'd love a historian to say how these would have really happened, because you have people charging always at full tilt, whereas I'd be like, mate, can I just hang back?
I'll do some dressage over here.
I'm sure no one will know if I was fully involved or not, but basically I'm going to not be on the charge.
You'd be a deserter.
I wouldn't be a deserter, I'd be there, but I'd be trying to hang back and say I was there, but look, I survived.
You'd be asking everyone if they're okay and ready. Are you ready to go? I'll stay behind and make sure that you've gone at the right time.
I'll be very quiet. I'll be Kirby, you're very quiet right now. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking, I'm concentrating for this war thing that's about to happen. Secretly thinking, what can I hide behind?
Just get under the horse and just hang underneath.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I would really like to know which battles we've seen that most accurately depict what it would have been like. And yeah, I just never caught fire for me, unfortunately. I do remember going on Netflix and I just saw it and I thought, I don't think I'll be that interested in it. But when you look at the cast, though, it's like Joel Edgerton's one of those people who I always underestimate. Mm-hmm. And it's always a pleasure when he turns up and stuff. And he's good in this. Timothée Chalamet is, a stalwart. We've had him in one of his earliest films, Miss Stevens, wasn't it? Where he blew out of the park. I haven't seen The Company Unknown yet. Sean Harris, I always love just his voice.
Yeah.
And we have a Game of Thrones alumni in Tom and Baratheon, Dean Charles Chapman. It's a good cast, Ben Mendelsohn, but it just never really hits it for me. Oh, Thomasin McKenzie.
One of 3 women in it, which is actually a little bit more than I was expecting. Yeah, there's 3. And Lily Rose Depp at the end.
Yes. So it didn't quite gel for me, unfortunately, and I kind of felt the length of it, and I didn't go 1.5 speed, but I did kind of hover over the cursor quite a few times to go, is there still... There's still a bit of time there, isn't there? Left in this. But also maybe this is part of the problem with watching it on TV at home is I could quite easily just been very, very tired, and I was very tired. And sometimes if this is the kind of film you need to just lock in with it a bit. Mm-hmm. So I hope it hasn't hurt your feelings there, Harley.
No, not at all. I mean, listen, for me, it's like a lot of movies I get into. Like my favourite movie is Blade Runner 2049, which I know you've covered.
Your favourite movie?
Yeah, genuinely.
How old are you? Sorry, if not rude to ask.
I'm 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that came out 5 years ago?
Yeah, genuinely. It was the one that just, well, actually more than that, I think. It was
5 years. I think it's been more than that.
2017, I think.
I always have this theory that your favourite film is when you were, like, I don't think I'll have my favourite film now, again, in my mid-40s.
Yeah, I think it probably will change, but if it's going to change, it will be another Denis Villeneuve film, because Dune Part 1 and 2 just absolutely blew me away. But that's the kind of person I am. I love stuff that just pulls me in and just puts me in another world and gives me characters that I can just kind of sit with and watch, and, you know, gives me all this stuff to think about. That being said, again, I can enjoy a lot of other stuff, but this is kind of the wheelhouse that I like to sit in, because it just gives me something to go away and really chew over and think about for a while. But I also appreciate that not everybody feels that way. I mean, case in point, my wife, you know, whenever we watch these films, I have to kind of pick and choose what I go for. And I mean, we often have a dispute about what happened in Dune Part 1. She says nothing happened. I said, a lot happens, you just didn't care. And it's fine that you didn't care. That's not a problem. We still love each other. It's all good. But yeah, this kind of movie, I'm like, I do get it. It's a very like Marmite kind of thing of, you either buy into this world and go, okay, I'm going to follow these characters and see what it's about, or you just kind of think, yeah, it's not for me. And if it's not for you, it's totally fine. There's plenty of other stuff to go and enjoy. As I said, I wouldn't put this at like the top of my film list, but I do think this is one I'll revisit again in the future at some point to kind of just sort of watch the background characters and other things that are set up in the film and just sort of study it a little bit closer.
No, I mean, this is one reason we have this podcast. I would never have watched it. Mm-hmm. I don't never had my presumptions confirmed or denied. And in this case, it was confirmed. In other films, it's been completely like, Kirby, you've been an idiot. You should have watched that film a long time ago. Is there anything else you want to say before we head to the scores?
I would just say on Joel Edgerton, like, yeah, I agree. Like, that was, for me, MVP. Like, just, like I said, he's one of those actors that, I feel like he's one of those guys that just does a lot of incredible stuff. You know what I mean? Like in everything.
But under the radar.
It's very under the radar. Like case in point, I think of the film Warrior. Have you seen that?
Not yet, no.
Well, it's him and Tom Hardy.
It's good.
Yeah.
And like, it's an incredible film because both of them.
It's the MMA one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the MMA one. It's a really solid film. They're both great in it, but like as two lead actors, it's fascinating, like the juxtaposition of their careers. And like people go, oh, Tom Hardy, leading man, put him in all these blockbusters. Whereas Joel Edgerton does just as much in that film, if not more. He's kind of like the heart of the story, but just under the radar, then moves on to the next thing and the next thing, and just does a really solid job in everything he does. And I really respect that about the guy. I think he's just great fun to watch.
Well, we've got one for you then. We've covered it. It's called The Stranger. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, that's on my list. I've heard nothing but good things.
Sean Harris is in that as well with Joel Edgerton, which would be like, if you like both those two, then that should be one of your next watches.
I will add it on, definitely.
Well, let's head to the scores.
I'm Sam Clements, host of the 90 Minutes or Less Film Festival, another podcast in the Stripped Media family, a podcast that celebrates movies under 90 minutes long. Each episode, I'm joined by a special guest who selects a movie to join our prestigious lineup. Past guests have included fellow Stripped Media family members Martin and Sam from Song by Song, and Kobe from Flixwatcher, and Dave from The Wire Stripped. Search for us now on the app you're currently listening to this podcast, or join us at 90minfilmfest.com.
So welcome to our Flixwatcher scores. All of the scores are out of 5. You can have decimal places if you wish. And we will start with you, please, Harley, with your recommendability.
So I guess following what we were just saying, I would have to pick and choose depending on who I'm speaking to. So I think I'd probably put this somewhere in like the 3, like in the middle, because it really does depend on who I'm talking to. Like if it's someone like me that can get into these kind of movies, like you'll love it. But if it's someone who doesn't, I wouldn't bother.
Tom?
Yeah, I think a 2. You know, a two works. A 2 works for me. I don't know, if you're going to recommend something, you're kind of putting your name to it. And I don't know if I could sell it. Although listening to Harley talk about it, like, I'm thinking of it differently. Like, I would have said I wouldn't watch it again, but now I'm thinking I would, because I want to see it through Harley's eyes, because I think he made a lot of really good points there. And I think maybe I'm like, maybe I haven't given it enough of a chance. But yeah, about a 2 for recommendability.
Helen?
Even though it's not my favourite film, I'm going to give it a 3 as well. I personally think it's worth watching if you're a fan of either Timothée Chalamet or Robert Pattinson, because they're both really great in it. And if you're a fan of like the films that they do, they're all doing kind of interesting things and bringing something different to the role. So for that, and then if you kind of like historical stuff that is probably a bit more accurate than most stuff, then there's a lot to go on. But it is quite long and it does take a while to get going. But yeah, I was kind of like a bit, got to watch it again, but I actually enjoyed it a bit more watching it the second time. So yeah.
What happened with Robert Pattinson? How did he die? Because he just kind of appeared on the battlefield going, right, I'm going to fight you.
Stabbed him.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
No, but then he was like, I'm going to fight you. And then he starts walking towards Chalamet and then fell over. And then Chalamet just kind of turned around and going, finish him.
Yeah, it's like it's not worth it. It's like it's not even worth. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. And then he just stepped back. Yeah,
the comedy, slipping and sliding in the mud.
I don't know about you. I genuinely shouted out loud when I was watching that because it was so funny, and then just the way those guys just jumped in, I was like, oh god! Like it's so visceral and horrible. But you're like, yeah, you kind of had that coming.
I'm going 2.5 here. Like I say, I think people will enjoy it. The cast is phenomenal. I have issues with what Robert Pattinson was doing, to be honest with you.
You did not like my acting?
I'm just going to throw it back to Helen, actually. You also have to watch a Harry Potter if you want to complete your Robert Pattinson, which I know you're not a fan of doing. So this is why when you said I'm going to... Maybe if you just said Timothée Chalamet...
These are the ones that were on Netflix.
These were all on Netflix. All the Twilights were on Netflix at one point. All the Harry Potters might still be on Netflix. So when you said that...
Maps of the Stars and Cosmopolis over those. Okay.
So you meant the kind of freaky off-kilter Pattinsons.
Yeah, High Life, all that. Good Time, all that.
Good Time.
It's great.
Yeah. 2.5 for me. Repeat viewing score. Harley.
I think if you're really into it, then you can get a lot out of this. Like, I'm going to put this up at about a 4. Like I said, I definitely will rewatch this at some point this year, particularly when you consider the twist of it all. The fact that there's a betrayal in his court. It's revealed that all of this was based on a lie. I'd love to go back and kind of rewatch it and study like Sean Harris and the other characters and just see how much of that is planted in the film and how much you can notice as it goes along, I think.
Yeah. Tom?
I'll go for a 3 for a rewatch. I think I will watch it again, Yeah, like I say, to see it through Harley's eyes. And there were bits of it I like.
That's the dream.
And, and I think...
I'll come to your house. We can watch it together.
We'll make a night of it, yeah. Yeah, so I read a load of the reviews and stuff before I watched it, and they weren't that promising. So I really maybe I didn't go in with the right attitude to get the most out of it,
Yeah, it's proper like for fuck's sake.
But I did like the battle, and there was bits of it. I liked that the battle was tactical as well. Normally in these films they just full Braveheart and run at each other, and I liked that there was like a bit of like thought behind it, and I liked that they alluded to the fact that battle must be really really grim for the people who survive it, and so that now giving it a thought, I'm coming back round to it. 3 out of 5.
Helen.
Yeah, I'm going to go down the middle with a 2.5 because I wasn't expecting ever to watch it again, but I didn't mind it that much.
Would you watch it again?
No. I've watched it twice now. I'd be like...
2.5 seems quite high for not going to ever watch it again. Anyway, this is your scores.
But I've watched it twice. Yeah.
Have you guys seen Napoleon?
Yes.
Not yet.
What do you reckon of that compared to...
Compared to this?
Yeah, just in terms of like the battle scenes, I guess. Because when you talk about visceral... in this, Harley, because there were some scenes in that where I was just like, whoa, I've never seen that done before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like with cannons.
I just remember about the lamb chop. That was the main memory.
What about the horses?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. I just heard he shot a cannon at the pyramids, is one thing I heard about that film. Unless I've misunderstood something.
There's a very, very brief moment where they're in Egypt. Okay. But like that just... It's so brief.
Yeah.
It's like,
fair enough then.
In the whole like grand scheme of like Napoleon, it's
You're not interested in watching the director's cut? Small screen score, Harley.
I would go... Yeah, I think obviously watch this on a TV of a reasonable size, and I felt it was fine. Although I did think watching it, I would quite like to see this at the cinema. It feels like there's some really brilliant shots in this and some great cinematography. It would have been nice to see it on a big screen. I think watching it on like a smartphone or something would be like you'd lose out on so much of the detail that's in those battle scenes in particular. So I think small screen, probably like a 2, maybe.
Tom?
3 again, I think. It was fine just on the telly, that you wouldn't want to go any smaller. But I'd have been a bit gutted on the pictures just because how slow it was, I think. It's like it is a long time to be sat there if you're not into every minute of it, So, yeah, small screen probably better, I would say.
Helen?
I mean, this is like an average length for a film these days. Like 2 hours plus is pretty much what like every film is. Like there's not many films that are coming in much shorter at the moment. I'm just thinking the cast might have intrigued me to have gone to see it at the cinema. It does feel very cinematic, but yeah, I've only ever seen it on a small screen, so hard to say. So maybe a 4?
Yeah, I'm going to go 4.1. I think I would have enjoyed it more in cinema just because I would have been locked into it. I was definitely scrolling around on... It's something I don't normally do, actually. Apart from when there's definite French happening. Engagement score. Well, I've just alluded to my engagement score. Harley?
I mean, for me, I put this pretty high. Like, I put it at like a 4 because I was just intrigued from minute one of the characters and the performances, and that first battle scene, especially, as I said, just set the stage for it being something completely different that I'd not seen before.
Tom?
2.5. Yeah, solid halfway. Once it kind of gave me enough to get my interest, then I was in, and it was fine.
Helen?
Yeah, if I'd seen this at the cinema, then 100% would have been more engaged. I was probably more engaged watching it this time round than the first time round. But yeah, I was also reading the Wikipedia about the historical inaccuracies, which there are a few, but...
Yeah, but isn't this based on the Shakespeare, then...
Yeah, which apparently there's quite a few differences between those texts that it was based on.
Okay.
But I'm going to let it pass on this because it's from oldie times and who knows what really happened then. So I'm going to give it a 3 for engagement for me, even though there were some bits that kind of brought me in and then other bits I was a bit like, oh, this is a bit boring. And then I came back in again.
I'm going to go for 2. I just wasn't, maybe it's just my mood that time. And that's how it is sometimes though, isn't it? It just wasn't really into it. That gives an overall score of 2.8500. I feel it's a bit lower than you would have thought. That's maybe my fault.
Definitely.
What else has David Michôd done?
I did look up and I couldn't remember if I'd seen any of his.
No, it's a name I've heard quite a bit, but I don't think I've seen any of his films apart from this then. Oh no, Flesh and Bone. No. No, I haven't seen any of this. Why don't I know his name so much then? That's quite strange.
War Machine, that was the big one with Brad Pitt, who was a producer on this.
No, I've not seen that.
I haven't seen it either, but that's probably his biggest one.
Yeah. Netflix does some silly films. Just look at the face there. I'm just like, no, I don't want to watch that. Sorry, whoever's listening. I just thought I must have seen some of David Michôd's films and thought maybe this wasn't one for me. I just haven't seen any of them. That's really strange. But it's been quite prolific. So have you guys seen Tom, Harley? Have you seen any of his films?
Any of his other films? You've also got me now doing the IMDb dive. Yeah, I don't know that I have, actually.
Oh, he's got another one with Robert Pattinson. I'll have to add that. It's got Guy Pearce in it as well. Also co-written by Joel Edgerton. They must be big buddies, I think.
Is that Animal Kingdom?
It's called The Rover.
Okay.
Which is the title, which I'd be like, what is it about?
What is that? Yeah. Yeah, so unfortunately David Michôd hasn't engaged me in this case, but look, thank you very much, Harley, for bringing it to us, because I don't think I would have ever watched it.
You're welcome, question mark. It's a bit like a compliment sandwich episode. It's great.
Just glad that it wasn't your film that you made personally.
It's fine. No,
we're talking about
it's all
here.
good. It's all good. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, Harley, can you let everyone know where we can find you online, and we'll say goodbye to the listeners?
Yeah, all the usual podcast outlets or at Proper Mental Podcast on social media. Instagram tends to be where I'm the most active.
Yes, I am Fandamentals Pod on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. You can find me on all of the usual places for your podcasting needs.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
You.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoyed this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast? Why not leave us a 5-star review on iTunes? You can also follow us at FlixWatcherPod on Twitter, and we're at FlixWatcher on Instagram. Thanks as always to the mighty people for their mighty, mighty tunes and Rockwood Audio's editing skills. If you're looking to get your podcast edited as sweet as this, get in touch with Rockwood, ROKK Wood Audio. Tell them Flixwatcher sent you.
You just heard a Stripped Media production.